David Lacy.
After my ex-wife moved out, I flew to my hometown to visit family and friends nearly every other weekend. This was difficult because I was terrified of flying. As soon as we reached cruising altitudes, I'd order 2 miniature bottles of Tart Airlines Chardonnay for the 1-hour flight between Southern and Northern California. The wine, of course, chased the pre-flight Xanax, dusty pills that slid out of a bottle with a warning label that read, "Do not mix with alcohol." Some people who are afraid of flying will never voluntarily take the window seat. I needed it. As soon as the plane took off, I pressed my temple firmly against the glass and stared intently at the receding features of the earth. I somehow believed that if I remained acutely focused on the rattles and bumps of the flight, I could control it, thereby ensuring the continued levitation of a massive airborne cylinder of steel traveling at speeds in excess of 400 miles per hour. A teacher of mine once referred to this as magical thinking. My psychiatrist has a different phrase for it, a symptom of my generalized anxiety disorder. He's the one who supplied me with the Xanax, though, so I'll go with his terminology. I desired the window seat for an additional reason. I needed to scout for planes. Scanning the skies, I would search compulsively for little specks of metal crisscrossing the horizons. Somehow, and I still have difficulty explaining this to people, I found solace in the companionship of other moving airplanes. Their presence, along with the Xanax and the shitty Chardonnay, steadied my nerves in a rather curious way. Clearly, they could be of no aid in case of an emergency, but spotting them out there, planes full of humans floating below, above, and around me, made me feel more secure. When one flew silently out of sight, I'd ball up my fists anxiously, my eyes frantically searching for the next plane. In my head, I referred to them as airplane allies, and I didn't truly comprehend their powers until recently. Even when you know it's coming, you don't really know. I say moved out, but if there were a more clinical way to describe my wife's departure, I'd use that term instead. Before I left for a friend's house that weekend, a mutually agreed upon prearranged weekend during which my wife's parents would swoop in to help their daughter pack up and avoid a pained and embarrassing confrontation with a son-in-law they had known for nearly a decade, we had drawn up a his and hers list. I didn't return until I was sure they had gone, confirmed with a text, and as I unlocked the same stubborn lock I had battled with daily for years, I stepped into an apartment that was exactly half empty. She had stuck to the list with stunning accuracy. The surgical precision with which our home had bisected and vacated was remarkable. There were precisely half as many electronics, half as many pieces of furniture, half as many Pottery Barn furnishings. She was nothing if not judicious. I walked slowly to the center of the living room, sweeping my head from side to side, seeking something but unsure what. Suddenly, I felt a heavy pressure as if I had been immured into the space between 2 repelling magnets, and I dropped to the floor. I doubled over, crossed my arms over my chest, and clenched my fists. I began rocking back and forth and breathing faster, sucking sips of air in increasingly quick, fierce intervals. When the numb tingling began prickling my face, neck, and arms, I knew a panic attack was imminent. The sips became gulps, and the tremulous sobs began. The ugly, twisted, thick-labored sobs, each ending in a deep moan and mumbling lips that offered an incoherent plea over and over again in a broken record fashion, "Please, no." Tears streamed from my eyes and merged with viscous snot. What I remember most vividly is that no one was there. I spent the remainder of the evening completely alone. I awoke in a daze, unmoved from that self-same spot on the floor. I reached out without lifting my head, grabbed my phone, and checked the time. It was 11:45 p.m. I had slept through the entire day. Now I had the rest of the night to contend with. I pulled myself up with considerable effort and went in search of Benadryl. I found 2 in my bathroom medicine cabinet. I didn't even bother looking on her side. I already knew what wasn't there. Tossed the pink tablets in my mouth, stuck my head under the faucet, and swallowed. I returned to nearly the exact same spot I had passed out at earlier and curled back up on the floor. Thank you.